3, 2, 1. I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite podcast on the Citadel. That was a quote from Halo. Combat Evolved. I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks, and this is Sardonicast. Who else is here?
I'm Randy the Ram Robinson.
Nice.
And I'm Alex from HE. Nice Mass Effect reference. So you've been playing it lately or what?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be playing it today. We're recording on a weird day, but I'll be doing my stream later, and I'll be exploring the galaxy and kissing Garrus, and that's about it. It's just those two.
Hell yeah. When was the last time you played Mass Effect 2?
Many years ago, and I'm very glad that I waited for this Legendary Edition, because it was just like a rumor or whatever, and I was itching to do another playthrough, because Scoot had never seen the games before, so he's experiencing them fresh for the first time.
Oh, cool.
And so, yeah, I waited, and then they announced it, and now we're back in the land of space and alien tits and... crazy universe with adventure.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what you think all these years later.
I mean, I still love it.
Thoughts in playing it again.
I'm already on the second one, so like my second Legendary Edition. There's a lot that I appreciate about the series. Like really great writing for like universe building and
amazing lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that codex, all the races and everything. It's so much fun.
Really good backstories for everything. Have you played Mass Effect, Ralph?
Yeah, I've played it like when it came out, of course. So I haven't played the new remastered one. I'm not that huge of a fan of it, but I remember liking them. I remember the third one like blew out my speakers because like the alien creatures have like those giant ships, and it like blew out my speakers. Literally,
channeling the Inception score.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
I've been playing, you guys know the BioShock games,
yes,
right?
Yes, I do.
Like, BioShock and BioShock Infinite. They made System Shock before those. And those are, like,
company?
Really old. I believe so.
It was Ken Levine's, like, game, wasn't it, before BioShock?
Yeah, I guess it has Shock in the title. And it's a similar kind of game if you play it, except it's set on a spaceship.
I played System Shock 2.
Yeah. System Shock 2, that's what I'm playing.
Okay,
I tried playing System Shock 1 too, which is cool, but it's like really, like those games are super old. Like you watch the intro.
I heard that 2 is the really good one, so I didn't even touch 1.
2 is great, yeah. 1 is pretty good, but you have to be like accustomed to that old kind of, wait, I'm gonna like play the opening. It's like really, you could hear like how...
It's open on your laptop?
It's open on my phone right here.
Oh. You're playing it on your...
You could tell just like how old of a game it is.
Like telephone?
It's on your fucking phone.
7 April 2072. 11:13 p.m.
It's like what the fuck? It's you can tell it's like a PS1 era game.
Yeah.
It's cool though. So that's what I've been playing.
Yeah.
Instead of new stuff.
That's totally okay. Because there's a wealth of older games that need to be played, you know?
Exactly. I figured like it's about time.
I want to try Earthbound. I feel like I would enjoy Earthbound.
Yeah.
Which is apparently the second or third in a series or something, and I just don't even fucking know. I'll have to look it up. I don't know if it's that important. Have you played like the old Game Boy Pokemon games, Ralph?
I played Pokemon Go. That's like the most I've done.
That's not a real Pokemon game.
Yeah, that's hardly even a Pokemon game, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Red and Blue.
I watched a couple episodes of Pokemon when I was young, like as a kid. That's it. Yeah, I've never played any of those games. You need a Game Boy. Yeah, you need like a Game Boy Advanced or Nintendo.
Or an emulator on the computer.
Yeah, which I never got that. Yeah. Okay. Well, at this point, you can do that. But like when it came out, you couldn't do that, I don't think, right?
I mean,
I was never a big Nintendo person. Like I never had I had a Wii.
Everyone had a Wii.
Yeah, because Wii was okay.
Yeah. The Steam Deck's coming out. And so I'm very happy because I'll finally be able to play N64 games on a Switch-like console. Because Nintendo won't sell them. Except for like, just the one in like the Mario pack that they stopped selling after like 30 days because they're assholes. I'm like, I just want to know if it's against Twitter TOS for me to take a picture of me running an emulator on my Steam Deck with a giant middle finger and adding the Nintendo Twitter account. Because if that's against TOS, I won't do that. But if it is, I do want to keep my Twitter account. Like, that's what I feel like doing. Because, like, holy fuck. Just, like, this is exactly what we needed, in my opinion. I don't often hype things up before they're out, but the concept of what it is, of, like, damn, I always wanted to have something where I could, like, play Halo on the airplane, you know? Or just play what I want on the airplane. And not have to, like, have a whole laptop thing, right?
And the fact it's linked to Steam as well. Yeah. Everyone already has their library. Exactly. And you can run Windows on it or Linux or whatever operating system you want, and you can install emulators. So, like, you're set. Like, it might not be the most powerful running machine, obviously, but I think it opens the door to, you know, if it's successful, then it tells other companies, like, oh, maybe perhaps investing in this kind of hardware is actually something we should be doing. Because it's SteamOS and because it's so integrated with Steam's library, they're going to be making the revenue off of the theoretical Steam game sales that are associated with the physical product. I'm pretty sure they're selling the hardware at like a loss, which is what a lot of console manufacturers do. Yeah, that's common, right? Yeah.
It's crazy. I put a reservation on for one of them. So I'll let you know. If it's really disappointing, but I'm hoping it won't be. Even if it's only 30 FPS, I really don't care because the portability is a huge factor, and then, you know, obviously it'll get better with time. But you gotta become an early adopter to tell people that that there's a market for it.
No, it's good the Switch has some competition. I mean, you know, Nintendo need it. Yeah, they have some tricky little things going on sometimes, be it like that Mario thing you said, or just the way they treat YouTube content and stuff. They got some draconian measures over there sometimes.
Yeah, that's the right way to describe them. They're surprisingly anti-consumer. It's so weird.
Yeah, because they just know they can get away with it because their games are so good generally.
They're like evil.
Yeah, Nintendo
That's how I would
is like kind of like a brand personality thing in the same way that Disney is. So you're always going to have Nintendo fans just like you have
but
Disney
Disney
fans.
isn't as bad as them.
What?
They're not as bad.
Sorry?
I don't think so. No.
In what way?
Really?
Nope. Well, what are you going to argue that Disney just changed copyright
Disney.
laws?
No. I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. So there's independent theater chains like the Rio in Vancouver and many others that would do midnight screenings of something like the Rocky Horror Picture Show or other Fox-owned titles. And as soon as Disney bought them, they're like, no, we're not doing rescreenings. Because they love their fucking Disney Vault or whatever. They don't call it that, but they love withholding entertainment by forcing theater chains to essentially be like, oh, the only thing we can play is the new Black Widow movie right now. Disney has completely blackmailed theater chains.
Disney Vault thing.
Yeah, not just the Disney Vault, but like the way they operate with theater companies, they'll be like, you have to be playing this movie for this long and this many screens, or else we're not going to let you play any Disney movie ever again. And they blackmail them in that way. So yeah, they're pretty fucking bad. And I don't want them to own more content and more studios, really. I think it would be better if they didn't. Yeah.
The Disney Vault is a bad idea. Yeah. That is like a draconian kind of
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think drawing the comparison between Nintendo and Disney
well, you can criticize Disney movies, I mean, and they, for the most part, even using footage, and they, for the most part, I don't know many examples where they take extreme measures like Nintendo with that shit. I only think just it's a loss in translation thing, but yeah, it's so drastic.
No, because Sony does not do that. So it's not it's not the fact that they're Japanese. Exactly. Nintendo's just like they're really behind the times when it comes to.
It's just evil.
No,
don't do it.
I'm not trying to oversimplify it that way.
That's my opinion.
Okay. I think they're just they try to do what they can get away with doing, and Sony does that to an extent also with their let's pretend people don't want backwards compatibility thing. So right now, Microsoft seems to be like the only console manufacturer that's like at least giving us the impression of being pro-consumer. And this is something that has changed within the past 5 years.
It's just because they lost so hard.
Yeah, they lost because they were anti-consumer. Like that's the whole backlash to the Xbox One, right? So they had to change. That isn't even that bad
necessarily.
So
sure, being for the consumer.
I mean, if there are companies that are essentially saying, hey, we're going to be pro-consumer. Let's see if this is profitable. I want to help make that profitable. That's something that we should be doing if we want pro-consumer things. If we give profit incentive to anti-consumer tactics, like anybody who bought the limited edition Mario game thing that they decided to stop selling because they want you to buy it as quickly as possible, if you're one of those people, you're saying, Nintendo, please continue doing anti-consumer bullshit. I'm sorry, but that's what you're doing. You're giving them money for anti-consumer practices. So, yeah. And I didn't see The Lion King 2019 in theaters because I didn't want to encourage them. So it's all everybody else's fault but mine, and I give money to bad companies too, and I'm not an angel. I have an Apple computer, so I eat Nestle products sometimes.
Bad companies like Amazon.
Yeah.
Microsoft, like Bill Gates, like he's an abuser.
I don't know.
Like there's shades of everything. So don't use Microsoft because you endorse that.
Microsoft.
Yeah, you could say that about anything. Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Same shit with them.
Every kind of soft. What is it? Blizzard right now is like dealing with harassment lawsuits that they keep losing or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like Ubisoft kind of has that.
Well, the moral of the story is no matter what you do as a consumer human being on this planet, you're supporting something evil. Mere existence is pain.
Yeah, there's like
synecdoche, everybody.
Exactly.
So speaking of pain, we saw a movie called The Tomorrow War starring Chris Pratt, and it was the most watched movie in the entire Amazon rainforest.
Wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Wasn't that bad.
All right. What did you think, Ralph?
Do you want to describe like the plot briefly? I guess I made a review of it. I could do it briefly.
Sure.
Like the plot.
Summarize it for us.
Chris Pratt has a family, and then he's watching a football game. And,
Thank you so much. Thank you for that being the first thing you said about Chris Pratt is that he has a family, because that is a part of my... Oh, that's just so perfect.
That's it, right?
That's his character.
And then he's watching a football game.
That's literally his character, is he has a family.
People from the future teleport in, and they say, there's a war in the future. We need to teleport you into the future for a week for a war. They drive Chris Pratt. They fight aliens for a week in the future. Right, and he meets his. And I guess we can go into
spoilers everybody.
It's crazy in the future. There's like tons of shit going on. One of the things is that
the guns have
like
infinite
people
ammo
from the past. Yeah, he meets like his daughter, stuff like that in the future, and she's fighting in the war, and that's a huge part of the movie.
She created the R Squad or whatever it was called.
Sure, I guess the only thing I didn't mention was J.K. Simmons plays his dad, and he's a Vietnam veteran. Yeah, he was pretty good. J.K. Simmons is like a Vietnam vet, and he's like, I don't know. He's distant from Chris Pratt. They don't have a good relationship.
He thinks Chris Pratt isn't manly enough, is what he said. He was calling Chris Pratt like a pansy. Like, oh, look at you, metrosexual, feminine Chris Pratt. Like, what the? Yeah. Okay, maybe it was supposed to be someone different in the script, and they just got Chris Pratt.
You don't see him for like fucking most of the movie, and then he comes back at the end.
It's just for the ending. Aliens. It's just for the reunite with my father thing. Reunite with father, reunite with daughter, family. It's like these things exist in the script just to do that nonsense, and that's the only reason.
It's an excuse for fucking action scenes that look like a video game. Like, it's just a bunch of CGI aliens.
It is a very
the aliens got nothing to them. Movie. It's a ripoff of, there's a queen. The aliens just got like,
insert
alien
movie.
Them. They're just monsters.
Yeah,
any alien movie. It's like, hive mind, fucking whatever. It's the same shit you've seen a million times. It's cool if you just want to watch a bunch of action. Like, it's not the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. I mean,
because the action doesn't even start until an hour through the movie.
It's mindless, and it's also, I think it's a harmless film too. Like,
harmless.
There's nothing.
It's mostly
not offensive. It's not like a Michael Bay. It's not like Transformers 2.
I have cancer now.
It's just fucking painful.
I just
from this film.
I like giving like every movie like a chance, right? Like a good investment time. And normally my rule is like if there's nothing by the end of the first act, then there's like a real good chance that there's just nothing for me in this movie. And that's kind of what happened here. By the end of the first act, like I was like, I don't really need to make any notes for this. I'm pretty confident what we have in my hands here. And like the title, The Tomorrow War, is so similar to Edge of Tomorrow from 2014. Lots of similarities with that movie, except that movie had way more going on for it. It was a much better action movie. It was better basically in every single way. and this is like a nerfed version of that with this. What we have to talk about Chris Pratt, because I'm getting like annoyed with him in all these roles, these leading roles, where I'm just starting to see Christopher Pratt instead of like characters. You know, like he's good in the Guardians movies, but when he's coming out with the Tomorrow War and these Jurassic Park movies and like Passengers, it's like all the same character. And
it's pretty bad.
It is the writing, I think, that's the weakest thing about it. There's some okay concepts, but none of it really gets any true development or payoff. Like, there's a huge reveal towards the end where it's like revealed that, they're not actually aliens. They were experiments from under the ice that were like invented underground and like break.
They were aliens that were, so they were like, well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Here was my understanding was that there was an alien ship that crashed in the Arctic and they were frozen for a while, and the aliens that ravaged everything were the experiments of the other aliens. So like there were like humanoid aliens that weren't attacking, and I guess they died and just weren't unthawed properly. But then because of some sort of heating of the earth that they do not call global warming in this movie, 50 years later they get unthawed and ravage Russia first, and people are like, how did they get here? We didn't even see them land. That was my understanding.
Yeah. It's similar to War of the Worlds and The Thing. Buried, underwater, underground. It's just, a bunch of other science fiction movies. Alien, Edge of Tomorrow, right. Annihilation. It's just a million other things.
At least with Edge of Tomorrow, the time travel mechanic actually served a purpose in the plot and in the way that the film works from like a practical, like just the storytelling level, Whereas the only reason that time travel is a thing in this movie is to service the twist at the end where they say, even though I'm back in the past now, I can still kick their ass. Otherwise, there's no point of this movie having the time travel mechanic, because he goes forward once and comes back. That's it. And it's like, what? You could have just written a movie where it already is the future and you fight aliens, but they didn't. Why? Just so he could go back in time and be like, but there's still a second chance to kick their ass before they unthaw. And I'm going to go in here with like 7 middle-aged people, and we're just going to take care of this ourselves without the help of any government. Because what was the quote? It was like, yeah, we'll tell the UN, and then they'll just will die while they all figure out how to do it diplomatically or something like that. Yeah, they'll just talk about it, and then we'll all die.
It'll take too long.
It's like, I don't know, maybe go back for like more artillery or something. Like, now that you found it, like maybe come up with a better plan. Like, they're going to be frozen in there for a lot longer. You know that for a fact because because you come from the future.
They figure it out in a high school classroom from one of the students.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt's also a teacher. Like, it's so stupid. It just doesn't, like, it's really contrived.
Their entire plan relies on the serum or whatever, the toxin working that had never been tested before ever and was created in one day. And it was like overnight, like the toxin's done. Okay. And he goes back with it. And I guess he just had a bunch of, he was able to manufacture more of it or something. He brought back one and then there were a bunch of them. But it had never been tested.
Injected it into the main alien. Was that it? Was that like the only one?
No, there were aliens in the pods and they injected them into like several ones in the pods. And then they blew up because one of the characters self-sacrificed and was like, if I'm going to die cool. And they blew up.
Yeah, she made like a bunch of them. I remember.
Yeah.
She made like a whole, like tons of vials of them.
The one at the end was the queen, and they were afraid that she was going to go like birth all over the place or something. So
yeah. They might have saved like a container on the side. Like, just keep this one, like, in case, like, for the future. Because, they could come back. I don't understand why they couldn't.
Well, they can't. Well, so okay, this is actually it's funny that I get to explain this because I hate this movie the most.
Yeah, here we go.
So
but like when you break it down, nothing makes any sense.
Oh, of course,
like, that's
nothing makes any sense in Edge of Tomorrow. But Edge of Tomorrow is a better movie because at least it feels justified. Tom Cruise isn't the worst actor ever.
Tom Cruise actually is a character in that movie. He's kind of a little bitch. He's like scared of being fucking drafted in the military, and then he gets killed 100 times. Like it's interesting. Like
it had a personality
he's a
to
good
it.
Guy.
Also,
like you said, it's like World War Z, where it's just a guy with the family.
Yeah,
and it's like you can have a potato and like
a rock.
He has a potato or it was a rock. Yeah, but it could be a potato too. It's like he has a potato family, and you feel more sympathy with him. Like,
exactly.
And same thing with a rock or anything. It's not good writing.
This level of simplicity to the writing and the story and the plot and the characters does not justify a 2-hour, 20-minute film.
It's so long.
Betty Giplin's character, like, what was her character in this? Like, she had nothing to do. She didn't like the daughter at least had something to do, but the wife was just like kind of off to the side. She was barely in it.
She was there to tell us that he had a wife.
Yeah. that's
why. Speaking of Mass Effect 2, there's Miranda.
Oh, you know what's really funny? I actually installed a mod to restore the butt shots in Mass Effect 2. It was pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
I'm not even straight, but I was like, just give people the option. Yeah, that's funny.
I didn't know they removed them.
Yeah, because there are some like kind of unflattering ones, but then it like drew too much attention to it.
That's anti-consumer. That's anti-consumer.
Well, if you get it on PC, you can get a mod. There was also one that somebody informed me of once we got to that point on the stream, and it was restore Miranda's butt farts. And it took the same thing, and it added fart sounds when it showed her butt, and it was really funny. And the description of the mod made it seem like they were there. The fart sounds were always there the whole time, but they weren't.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's about the level of writing, like the characters in this movie.
Yeah. Nice fart.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because I understand that a lot of people can watch this movie and say like, oh yeah, it's dumb fun action. It's just for people who want to just see some dumb action. What confuses me about that perspective is that the action wasn't there until an hour through the movie, and there was a lot of exposition. Mm-hmm. They had a scene where there was a room full of people raising their hands, being like, well, how come we can't just go back and build a second one? And they're like, it's held together with chewing gum and chicken wire, as if that's an excuse, because clearly the materials to build it already exist in the past. You could just build it in the past with the same materials, right? Anyway, like
that scene.
They have a scene where they're making excuses for potential questions that the audience might have. So clearly, we're supposed to be thinking about this sort of thing. Clearly, the film is telling us that we are supposed to be thinking about this sort of thing. Otherwise, why would you even address it? Go the fucking Looper route, have Bruce Willis say, it doesn't matter, and then slam the table, and then that's the end of it. I would rather have that. Yeah. Looper is a movie that isn't even consistent with itself, but at least I can be like, okay, well, whatever. It kind of knows it's stupid, So, I just... This film takes itself weirdly seriously for a film that's just so stupid and bad.
Yeah, to the point where I was waiting for some kind of like reveal or twist at the end of the first act kind of thing to reveal that there were kind of more layers to the plot or something, but it is very standard and by the books kind of stuff. It's just super unengaging to me.
It's just a bunch of stupid action.
What like action scene stands out in your mind? Like, what about
the annoying
action actually jumps out of you?
I vividly remember being very annoyed.
The whole airdrop thing. The whole airdrop.
Good thing I landed in a pool from 300 feet in the air.
And everyone else died. That was really funny.
That makes a difference.
But it's like a video game. It's like all these new battle royale type games. Like that's what I was thinking of. Where they all start with you. You have to be in like a plane or something, and you jump out and you jump onto a city or something. And like they're like, start the movie with that because that's what people like.
This one's for the kids,
even if it doesn't make any sense. But like, why was there a glitch to like? Yeah, they were just monsters.
Very boring.
They're so generic. Nothing interesting about them. Nothing to make them like expand on them or give them character. They're so generic. They're like if you just search for random concept art on Google Images, like There's no real creative.
The alien design.
The alien, they're just mindless monsters. They don't really represent anything.
Exactly, they're mindless monsters. There's nothing interesting.
Nothing in this film feels properly justified from like a cinematic perspective. Like, ignore the plot for a second. Even just the actual moments of like what music they're going to use or what tone that they're communicating at any given moment, nothing is actually properly built up or justified. And the big example that I'm thinking of is they get dropped into the city. What do they call them? White caps? White spikes are overrunning the city. And then his daughter, who he doesn't know is his daughter yet, is just the person on the microphone. And she's like, we're going to carpet bomb the city. Sorry. They've overrun the city. They're like, okay. And they get the ampules from the lab, and everybody in the lab is dead. And they're running through like, just super fast, just like, gotta get it, whatever. And then she's like, okay, you only have 3 minutes left. We're gonna carpet bomb the city. You gotta get out of there. He's like, okay. And then as soon as they get into the stairwell, everybody just slows down to a fucking halt. Just like, and like checking around the corners, and the music cuts out. No, there's no longer action music. It's very silent because now this is a tension scene. And so Chris Pratt's like looking up like, ooh, are there going to be one hiding behind here? And they're all taking their sweet ass time, but there was nothing to justify that. Why didn't they go into any other room on the way there like that? Like, they got there without doing that. What about this stairwell is making them go like, oh yeah, now we need to be extra precautious, even though they're about to be carpet bombed, but the film is literally just going, okay, action music here, no action music there, and that's all that justifies it. It's just they think that they can have editing cues that justify something, but it feels so fake. It feels so phony. Nothing feels earned. It's a very frustrating experience.
Yeah,
like the self-sacrifices and. Like, how many times did that happen? Like, yeah, there were like 3 or 4 different self-sacrifices in this movie now that I think about it.
Really goofy.
Yeah. Holy shit. Because, like, right when they're about to get carpet bombed, there's the 2 that are like, no, they're going to just catch up to us, and they turn around and then decide to die, even though all of them would have died the white spikes would have died anyway. Like, they sacrificed themselves for no reason.
Shooting their machine guns.
The black guy at the end sacrifices himself. Or whoever detonated that thing. Yeah. J.K. Simmons cuts his hand open and sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
And then, like, how many of these do we need? Like, it's such an obvious checklist of bullshit to just manipulate people's emotions that I don't understand. It's very annoying. This is barely a movie. It's just a frustrating experience.
Do you find the director choice to be quite odd?
Who is this guy?
Chris McKay, who did like the Lego Batman movie and a bunch of Robot Chicken. He directed 19 episodes of Moral Oral. So an animation background.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense because the movie's a lot of animation, I guess. I don't think it's that weird. I don't know. Maybe this was his passion project. Maybe he really wanted to do it. I don't know. Written by Zach Dean. Who the fuck is that? Nobody? Okay. Nobody.
Yeah, I looked earlier. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
That seems to be one of the biggest problems to me. It's just there's no foundation to build a story off. There's no good script or plot or anything or characters. There's just nothing. It's just a visual effect nightmare.
They've got the items on the checklist, and apparently it works.
Nightmare. Yeah.
Apparently it works. It was the most watched movie on the Amazons.
Exactly. People loved it.
Well, we were saying the same thing about that Zack Snyder movie with the zombies.
Army of the Dead. It was the most watched thing on Netflix. People self-sacrificed themselves there too. There was a carpet bombing that they had to the timer to rob the bank for, and they were like, "Gotta get out of here," and they dawdled too. Like, it's the same movie.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Fucking garbage.
Except there were no dead pixels in this one, so it's a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little more competent, right?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, the guy made the Lego Batman movie, made a more competent movie than Zack Snyder.
Oopsie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if we break it down to like the simpler elements of the film, so one of the things I had an issue with was the girl who shows up on the football field soccer for Ralph. She has this weird star on her cheek, and I was convinced that like by the end of the movie it'd be like, oh well, they're going to explain what that is. And then by the end of the movie they didn't, and I realized it was just supposed to be a scar, but it looked so weird that like, I don't know, it's probably not a good thing to have people not like actually confused about what something as simple as like a makeup choice is. Like if you're showing a scar on a character's face, it should be obvious like that's what it is. But like me and the other people I was watching it with were just like, what is that a scar? Like we don't know what that is. It looks so weird and bad. And then even in terms of like the sets, like the parts of it that weren't CG, the physical practical sets, like rubble, like it just feels like a movie set.
Yeah.
It just, nothing felt like what the film was telling us it was in the context of the story. It was a movie set where a movie actor populates the screen, and that's it. It was, I'm watching someone
That's
make
how all
a
of Army of
movie.
the Dead felt. Like the Vegas street felt like a set in Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
That's how most of that movie felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the new Amazon product. It's depressing, yeah.
Yeah, that's how a lot of movies are going to be.
You did it, Jeffrey.
It is depressing, yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. Cowboy Jeff.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos. He's going off to space.
Oh, I think he already did.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Is that it for Tomorrow War?
I mean, I could complain about it a bit more. I thought that the fucking stupid, the shot where they're being overrun on in the ocean place where they use the time machine, and she has the serum and they're doing the experiments or whatever, the toxin, and then the white spikes overrun the location, and they're doing the whole like chooty pow pow, and then by the end of it. They're like the last people left, and she's like, I've been stabbed. Help. He's like, I will save you. I won't let this happen to you. And she falls into them, and Chris Pratt's just like, no, and jumps after her. And you can tell that the movie thinks that looks super cool, and like the slow-mo, and like, oh, it's like a Renaissance painting or whatever the fuck they think it is. Like, but it was like, it not only does it just look bad, like it's just a big computer thing, but like, nothing justified. Like, Chris Pratt has had this explained to him so many times throughout the course of the movie about how time travel works, and he just doesn't get it. He's like, I can't let you die just here. He literally says to her, I can't just leave you here as I go back to the past and change the future. Like, you know that you would be preventing her from dying if you just go back. So what's your deal? Why do you have an issue with this? Like, he doesn't seem to understand it in a way where it seems like the movie thinks that the audience would have a misunderstanding in that same way. I don't know. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything because he's just going to go back and change it.
Exactly. And I mean, he does at the end of it, which creates an entire paradox because...
The tension is he actually going to do it?
Yeah.
And I guess so. Well, yeah, once he does, it creates a whole paradox where the movie doesn't make any fucking sense at all then.
Of course. It's the paradox that every time travel movie except like Primer and 12 Monkeys fall into.
Tenet doesn't have it because they inverse time. Everything that happens in Tenet
that's not even I wouldn't even call that a time travel movie. I would call that a time manipulation movie or something.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you're moving
time, everything's happening.
We're technically traveling through time right now. We're just going from the past to the future. Okay, like time. Yeah. If I were to say a time travel movie, I would think like you built a teleporter, sort of thing. Like that's my understanding of a time travel movie. But yeah,
they don't get into that stuff. You gotta definitely suspend disbelief or whatever when it comes to time travel in a movie. It just depends. It depends on the movie. Back to the Future, I think, is great.
If they were a bit more self-aware about it, I wouldn't give a shit. But they have scenes in the movie that literally try to address other paradoxes. They have the two characters talking to each other, and he's saying like, "Oh, why is everybody here over the age of 40? Oh, that's so they don't create a paradox by sending people to the future who would still be alive in the future. They have to make sure that they get people who would have died between now and 20 years from now." So they're quite literally saying in the movie, they're telling the audience, we're addressing paradoxes, and then they're just creating other paradoxes. So it's like, well, just don't even fucking do it. Stop pretending like you're a smart movie. Stop pretending. Just own it and be a dumb, stupid, bullshit, dumb movie. You know,
the
have
time
a sense
travel
of humor.
wasn't even necessary.
It wasn't. It was just for the
It
twist.
didn't even need to be in the movie. It could have just been like a teleporter that puts them on a different part of the planet. Like the aliens have taken over completely.
I mean, even with the time travel element, like there's more interesting things they could have done with it, right?
Well, yeah, I guess because he saves his daughter. Like, that's the only thing that happens. Like, but it's like, okay, that was in there, but was it really... It wasn't that powerful. Like, I don't.
It's so he can go to the future
why.
and his daughter's hot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like whatever script they had. Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, this is fine, and it's a vehicle for Chris.
If
Pratt.
I were writing a movie with Chris Pratt in it, and it started with characters from the future showing up on the football field and being like, we need you to fight this war. I don't know. You could have something interesting where the government was lying and it wasn't what it seemed, and maybe people were being sent to do something else, and perhaps, or maybe it was like humans were the bad guys or something, like, or maybe that's too predictable. You never know. That could also be stupid. I don't know, but seems like it would be at least have like another layer that would justify a 2.5 hour runtime. You know, just make the plot like a bit more complex instead of just so simple and nonsense. I don't know.
It doesn't even matter though. The Tomorrow World 2 is already in development.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't tell me that.
It's happening.
What?
Did it have like a tease in the credits, like that Army of the Dead Zack Snyder movie did? Like they're building
I don't think so.
a trilogy or a universe or something?
You're lying. Where?
Holy I'm serious.
Deadline.com.
Yeah, I know they're making
July
a second
8th,
one.
The Tomorrow War 2,
great.
Amazon and Skydance already in talks for sequel reteaming with Chris Pratt. Well, they're in talks, so it's probably going to happen, I guess. Fuck. Wow.
What could they even do? It's quite like everything's wrapped up pretty clean at the end. It's like, how can you even make a sequel?
I mean, it's going to turn out that one of the aliens survives. That's the only way to do it. It's the zombie movie thing. Oh, the zombies are still here.
White Spike. Such a strange name. I just heard White Stripe like every time they said it. I just kept thinking of the White Stripes.
It's funny that the aliens can shoot people. It's funny that they have long distance combat.
Yeah, with their tails or whatever.
Yeah, they'd like shoot white spikes at people.
Like a smoke pellet? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's some sort of projectile. And I love how Chris Pratt is so familiar with the alien anatomy that he was able to time when it was going to shoot and move it so that it shot itself when they were capturing the queen at the first point. He like grabbed the tentacle and was like, I can sense you're going to shoot now, and just turned it and it shot itself. Also, you know these things can shoot. Why the fuck would you build a cage that it can shoot out of? Why would you build a cage like that? Like you built the cage and brought it there. This is like military equipment. You built a fucking time machine. Don't tell me you can't build a better cage that doesn't have holes in it. What are you doing? What an incompetent government. That's where all the military bucks are going, apparently.
It's so stupid. The movie doesn't make any sense at all.
The entire concept doesn't make sense because, like, in what the humanity is dying. We built a time machine, and we're not going to warn the past about how to better prepare for it so that we prevent this from happening. What we're going to do is we're going to take more bodies and throw more bodies at the aliens because that's what we need. That's what we were missing. And the only thing preventing us from winning the war right now is that there aren't enough bodies for them to eat. Like, what is it? We're going to take a bunch of Facebook moms and throw them in there with some infinite ammo guns. Like, they didn't train anybody properly.
Really
the film was really insistent because this was one of the checklists on the checklist of the movie. They were like, okay, well, we're not going to show the alien until this point in the movie. And then it's going to be really scary because, like, the first part of the movie, you don't know what they look like, and there's, like, mystery and suspense. But in doing so, they created these weird moments where, like, they have the woman being like, okay, aim for the throat and the abdomen. That's where you want to hit him. And she shoots a humanoid target where it's like, okay, you're training people to fight these aliens who have never seen these aliens before. Get a fucking cardboard cutout of something that resembles the shape of the alien, maybe. Why are you shooting at a humanoid target? That's not going to help. They don't look like humanoids. Shoot at the throat and the abdomen. Yeah. Maybe you want to show them where that is. Chris Pratt was fucking teaching his friend where the safety was on his gun like a moment before they shot off into the future. this is the stupidest concept. Like, nobody would do anything that anyone does in this movie. Nobody acts like a rational human being ever.
Yeah, it's dumb schlock.
Yeah,
it really is.
But it's not dumb or short enough to be entertaining.
Yeah,
dumb schlock.
Give me a fun schlock.
It's just an excuse for action sequences.
Edge of Tomorrow didn't make any sense either, but it was fun. I could watch Edge of Tomorrow again.
Yeah, fun.
It was dumb. It's frustrating, and I made an entire video talking about how it doesn't even follow its own rules. But it was at least fun. I could watch that again. I'll give it that.
It made some sense. This makes negative sense. It makes minus like negative 10.
It makes dollars
sense. Yeah, it made a lot of money, but that doesn't
make any sense. But it makes dollars.
Yeah, it does become embarrassing when it just takes itself so seriously. It's that tone that just makes it so egregious
completely.
To me. I was just bored to tears with it.
Chris Pratt, in all these other films that we mentioned him being in, like for the most part, there's some sort of element of comedy to his character. And that's what he does best. Mm-hmm. He's best at doing like the dopey, like, I don't know, he's like almost like Ashton Kutcher in that sense. But in this film,
else would you cast him?
Where he's supposed to be taken completely seriously and there's no ounce of comedy anywhere in the movie, from what I can tell, intentionally, there's just, his delivery's so weird. He seems like a inconsistent, like completely different person, and it's just like it's completely unrelatable too. It's I don't understand. But I guess they're just turning him into an action hero now, so
he just looks like Action Man. He's just a leading man guy.
If there was like a little bit of comedy in this movie, which there was in Edge of Tomorrow, let's remember that was a very funny movie in ways that it tried to be. If there was just a little bit of comedy in this movie, I think it would have helped it out, but it's a very serious film. And I'm giving this one a 2 out of 10. It was a chore.
I'm giving it a 2 out of 5.
And I'm right in the middle. This is I guess 1.5 star out of 5. Yeah, it's just nothing. It's just a grey blob of nothing. And I'm sure in 5 years we're just going to have so many of these types of movies that for the pile that like just nothing about it's going to be memorable. No one's going to remember this fucking film.
Mr. Bezos will remember.
Yeah, he'll remember the cash.
He's looking down from his cock rocket. Yeah.
Cock rocket.
Yeah, apparently.
What's the next movie?
You recommended it. It's called The Wrestler.
Yeah, it's your choice, right?
Oh, that's what we're going to talk about next? There isn't like some other modern movie?
Oh, no, we'll have more to talk about next.
Yeah,
we're already 45 minutes.
The Wrestler. Yeah, The Wrestler is from 2008. Spoilers, right?
Yes.
Is that what we say now? Spoilers. So I guess the plot of the movie. Should I just go over the plot quick?
Sure.
It's about. Yeah. I described both plots today of the movies. It's about Mickey Rourke. He plays Randy Robinson's the name of the character, and the Ram is like his wrestler name. And it's him toward the end of his wrestling career. It's kind of he's washed up. I wouldn't even say kind of. He's pretty washed up. He doesn't have any money. He has like no friends or family. His daughter hates him. He has like serious health issues that affect his wrestling. I think that's the biggest part of the movie. And every time he does it, it becomes more dangerous from the wrestle. And it's about like him coming to terms with that and just, being old. And it's a very interesting movie. It's very simple in a lot of ways, but it's also about a lot of things. I bet you guys have seen it before, but this is like rewatching, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this movie. I think just anchoring it around a past their prime, full of regret wrestler is an inherently interesting character and it's not rooted in. You don't have to love wrestling to necessarily enjoy the movie or anything like that. It's more about the characters and his personal choices and the way it's manifested later in his life when he's greeted with this it's against his decision really. He has this heart problem, which means he can't wrestle anymore, so his whole life very quickly crumbles before him, and he tries to reach out to people he loves and his family that he betrayed, and to me the movie really comes together at the end into this amazing final sequence where the three kind of disparate storylines, the main one with the wrestler and how he works at the supermarket, kind of converges with his love for this stripper character who is the reason he's reintroduced to his daughter. She kind of eggs him on in the whole daughter angle. And just the way they bounce off each other and manifest at the end for that. It's such an agonizing final sequence and final shot and such a thought-provoking ending, where alongside all this kind of religious imagery, and they're talking about the Passion of the Christ and just the visual design of the wrestler and with his hair and everything, and kind of just the way it all manifests at the end, I find to be really powerful and effective in a kind of typical Aronofsky sort of way. It doesn't leave you feeling good. It's about the opposite. It's about someone who maybe can't be redeemed.
Right, and he destroyed himself, really. I mean, that's what it's really about, a guy who completely did it to himself. It's a great story.
I watched this when it came out. This is my second time I watched it, I think. I love it. It doesn't connect with me as much as Aronofsky's, well, not all of it. I mean, this is much better than The Fountain. I don't like The Fountain. But there's like...
Yeah, I don't like The Fountain either.
Yeah, that's the one I haven't seen.
This grounded nature of the film is an interesting one to tackle for Aronofsky, because his directing personality otherwise, like in all of his other films, most of them is just so like, let's just call it loud, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's nice to see him tackle something that's like a bit more grounded. I think for the budget, I looked this up, I think it was like $6 million budget. Yeah, $6 million. That's a really fucking good movie for $6 million.
Yeah.
Very, very well made. And I believe that this was kind of considered as like Mickey Rourke's return to form sort of thing. Like he was pretty washed up at one point in time.
It revitalized his career, yeah.
Yeah, he was not getting roles. And I think, was he nominated for an Oscar for this? Probably.
He was.
Received a BAFTA.
Oh.
He got a Golden Globe. Yeah, and he got nominated for an Oscar, yeah. And then so was Marissa Tomei, who plays a stripper.
Okay, awesome.
And, you know, Iron Man 2 came out the same year as The Wrestler, 2008. And then in Iron Man 2, 2 years later, he's the bad guy. So
yeah,
that's right,
it definitely revitalized his career. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, great
he looks
casting.
He looks a little odd.
This is kind of amusing. The Darren Aronofsky's newest project, The Whale, stars Brendan Fraser, another washed-up actor who might have a redeeming role in this film. And the plot of this, I'm just going to read this little blurb on IMDb. A reclusive English teacher suffering from severe obesity who attempts to reconnect with his estranged teenage daughter for one last chance at redemption. So we could be seeing another like kind of wrestler-esque movie, although this one is listed as comedy drama, at least according to IMDb. So we'll see. But either way, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, how did you feel about the comedy?
How did I feel about the comedy in The Wrestler? I mean, there were moments of it. There was one part that
there's definitely great moments of comedy.
I think I wrote it down.
Yeah, there's some nice levity. The tray scene in the supermarket early on where they're smacking each other, some nice humor.
Yeah, a lot of the supermarket stuff, like at the deli counter, I thought.
Yep.
There's a lot of good stuff, like when he's like spring chicken, like that was
the whole deli counter.
That's some of the most memorable stuff in the film.
I wrote down the funniest part for me. It was the, do you knock? Let's try that again. And then on the second time when he actually does knock, he just comes out full force and smashes into him with the door. Just doesn't even look. When he was looking at porn.
Yeah, I really like the blocking
that was a funny scene.
That sequence.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
He kind of pins him in the hallway. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could talk about the deli counter part for like an hour. Like that's, I feel it ends on on like a very dark note. I thought, but it's definitely comedic for a lot of it. It ends with a sad part.
Yeah, but I think that those sequences are absolutely necessary, not just to tie into the theme of like, okay, you're past your prime, you got to like do something else sort of thing, but also these scenes give us a lot of information about his character. A lot of it's very internal and communicated through like the sound and the editing. Like he's walking through the like plastic curtain thing and you hear the crowd cheering and you know that not only does he yearn for, he needs that energy and he's addicted to that rush, and that's just a part of who he is. But it's also kind of interesting because he brings that natural energy that is just clearly a part of him. He brings that to the deli counter, which is why, in that same sequence, he's doing the whole like, oh, I'm just tossing food at people, and like, you know, in a he's always hilarious. A performer. Like he's trying to be a performer even when he's behind a deli counter, supposed to be just like ringing people up for like meat or whatever. It's like in his blood, you know. So you can't escape.
And I guess that's what's so sad about the ending, is because he's sacrificing himself for like a flippant crowd, as opposed to what Jesus represents, and that the whole imagery of that and the sacrifice of that, and it being for the sins of the people, and how there's like the total inverse kind of motivations and just the sadness of his life, all culminating with him basically self-harming and committing suicide at the end. That's my kind of ultimate interpretation of the way it wraps up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could like, if we wanted to interpret it as like the sins of the people for like encouraging people to hurt themselves for entertainment. You could say that like the crowd is. I'm not going to say that people who watch wrestling are sinners. I'm just saying you could make interpretations or draw parallels in that same way without it being the inverse, I guess. What's really interesting is that before this film, there wasn't that much of a conversation about the practical elements of what happens in professional wrestling. So there was always like, you know, there was a long period of time where wrestling just pretended it was completely 100% real. And then eventually they were like, okay, it's fake. But then in culture, people heard the words like, oh, it's fake, meaning they thought that literally every part of it was fake, and that like there wasn't any risk to what they were doing, or like it's always difficult to try and communicate to people the nuances of something like this. Even when it comes to like documentary filmmaking, someone will notice like a continuity error and be like, the whole thing's fake. It's like, well, no, they have to use B-roll for anyway. Yeah. Especially with the scene where it shows himself and like the razor and he cuts his head and stuff like that, and especially the physical turmoil that his body goes through. That kind of opened up a lot of conversation and, you know, in culture, of people being like, oh, so it turns out wrestlers actually do some things, even if the outcome of the fight is predetermined. It's still, you know, you're still doing a physical thing that you can get hurt doing. So
I was reading about some of the reactions of people who are like real like WWF champions and whatnot, and there's some interesting responses from them. Some of them figured that it was kind of a dark misinterpretation of like what the real world of wrestling is all about, but I don't necessarily interpret it that way. I think it's just interesting to think about it in terms of the people who work in that world and the way they see it and the way they live it, because that's part of the I guess fun is kind of the wrong word, but just the contrast between these scenes where these sportsmen, they're friendly, they're encouraging to each other, they're helpful to each other, right. And then it will cut to a fight and they're being so vicious and violent to each other.
Yeah. I like those scenes. I like those characters. There are a lot of like no-name side characters like that, and that felt very believable. It reminded me of a Safdie Brothers movie or something like that. Yeah,
it all feels very believable.
A more modern example.
Yeah, when they're like in the room and they're discussing before the show what they're going to be doing, and there's this like weird miscommunication of like, oh, you're doing legs, well, I'll do neck. Oh, you said you're doing neck, and he didn't hear him the first time, and the conversation, it feels like Darren Aronofsky just put a camera in a room of people already doing their own thing, and that might have happened.
Yeah,
like I'd imagine that some of the people he used in this film were probably pro wrestlers. Not necessarily like huge names or anything, but you know, there's pro wrestling communities all throughout, especially the United States. My friend Scoot does pro wrestling in Seattle, so yeah, he broke his arm.
Oh, yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah, it's very natural, and there's a lot of great character moments that are super relatable, and you can understand each character's emotions, especially when it comes to his relationship with the stripper character. I thought that their dynamic was very... What's the word I'm looking for?
It's like a genuine conflict.
Genuine, that's a good word. Yeah,
you understand both sides. Yeah, and you're kind of rooting for both of them, and when they are clashing, it's just the circumstance that's pushing them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then that choice at the end where she actually does she's like, I'm here. She's like presenting, I'm here, take me. But he he can't. He knows that it's never going to work out that way and rejects her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he kills himself, basically. And then also the relationship with his daughter, Eva Rachel Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a total fuck up as a father, basically, is how they present it. And even in this movie, you see, like, yeah, he's done. Like, you totally understand why she given up on him.
Yeah.
He keeps, like, indulging in drugs and having sex with women and alcohol. It's like, you know, he's living like he's a fucking, like he's like 20, like he's 20 in his 20s, like a wrestler at that time. He's so like kind of deluded in thinking that he's a young man, a young wrestler, but he, you know, his body can't handle it. He's still fucking doing like cocaine and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and steroids,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's tons of steroids. I totally even forgot about that. He's injected them into his ass. And Mickey Rourke goes all out for this performance. It's a fucking great performance from him.
I love the scene with that huge muscly dude, and they're sitting in the locker room, and he's basically just like got an entire pharmacy in his bag.
Yeah, all those pills. Yeah, exactly.
I was reading that guy got like arrested like a few months after
for the same thing
or something. Yeah.
Oh man,
that's funny.
I guess that's part of that culture, though. You know, it's exploring the darkest parts of wrestling. Yeah. You know, maybe that's why wrestlers don't like it. And that whole Jesus allegory. But it's mostly a story about just like that character, and it's a character study about him.
Yeah.
And, you know, becoming washed up, not devoting time to people close to you, becoming obsessed with, you know, whatever, to a point where it's unhealthy. Like you said, that rush for him of like the crowd loving him. He's obsessed with that. He's obsessed with like being in the spotlight again, like having video games based on him. All that stuff was so interesting. Like the 80s video game based on him, and he would have kids come and play it with him. Like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Talking about Call of Duty.
It's like, oh man, he's so, you know, done. Like,
just out of time.
He's playing a fucking game from 30 years ago. Yeah. It's interesting, I don't know.
It is kind of funny how seemingly surefire of a formula it is for, I mean, at least a few examples of taking like a washed up actor and making a washed up character story. You know, like Bergman is another one that comes to mind.
Works on multiple layers.
Yeah.
It's like, if the director's good enough, you could probably just be like, you know what, I'm gonna revitalize this person's career because I like them. Just write a story for them. Like, you know what? I want you to be doing good for yourself.
Yeah. Well, like Tarantino does that too, but it isn't always characters like that. Like
his characters are a bit different when he does that.
Yeah, he's just like, you know, bad guy or Sam Jackson.
Yeah, they tried it for Southland Tales, remember?
Oh yeah,
Southland Tales. Well, that's someone with not as much talent as Tarantino.
Exactly, yeah. And that wasn't even a washed-up actor. That was like, I want to prove to people that The Rock is like Oscar worthy. He's not just
The Rock isn't washed up. He's just not. He's not like, he's good in like Jumanji 2 and the new Jungle Cruise.
I don't know if I would say he's good in and then follow that sentence with anything. I don't know if I could ever do that.
Skyscraper?
It's kind of a joke.
Skyscraper.
Jungle Cruise. He's good. He's good in
well cast.
What's that movie with the gorilla? Rampage.
Yeah.
Rampage. Classic.
Yeah, he's good in Rampage. He's good in Race to Witch Mountain.
Yeah, I love how having the stripper character, not only does it make logical sense because strip clubs would likely just be the only place that's open after a show for wrestlers, at least according to some wrestlers. So there is already that kind of connection. But also, she's on the other end. She's a woman that made a career choice, or we don't know how much of a choice it was, but she's in this career where she's using her body, and she's only got a limited amount of time to do that, right? Where, you know, you might have been making money in your 20s doing that, but you know, she's dealing with being a mom, and these asshole kids are like, you're too old, ha ha ha, and like harassing her or whatever. But she's doing it anyway, and she was mad at Mickey Rourke's character for losing $200 or whatever she said. It is interesting just to have that kind of parallel, because they're both going through similar things, even if she's not necessarily harming her body doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just more committed to the child.
Yeah. He would totally be in that environment where, he would probably know strippers. I guess wrestlers would be. Yeah, you're right about that. And yeah, he's just looking for a connection with someone. And it just makes sense. It's like kind of someone he's paying. Like he's friends with someone he's paying, which is also kind of sad and pathetic in a way.
Yeah. They clearly got a bit of chemistry, but it's like a bit of an awkward situation.
It's like the only person he feels like to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, if I ever need to talk to her, I could just pay her and she'll talk to me.
She naturally does feel a connection with him too, but she's preventing herself from fully committing to that because she knows that she has to put up these protective barriers emotionally because he knows her as this character that she plays in one specific setting, essentially. And even when she meets up with him to get the shirt present or the clothes present for his daughter, the first thing he says is like, oh, you look so different. Like, I wouldn't have recognized you, sort of thing. And she has to, come to terms with that. It's like, oh, maybe he doesn't love me. Maybe he loves this character that I'm playing, sort of thing. And so it's very relatable. Yeah. You can clearly understand what she's going through in the film as a character.
Yeah. It gets very personal, between them. You understand both sides.
Well, yeah, because she wants to experience that too. Like, you can tell she's lonely. You can tell that she likes him, but she has to keep telling herself that it would never work out of a self-defense mechanism because it's clear that she's been hurt in the past, So,
yeah,
like she has a kid. She's a single mom. She's clearly been hurt in the past.
And then he does hurt her. He does hurt her in the end too. That's the thing.
There's a lot of really great editing in this movie.
Yeah, that's true. I love the look of it too. I believe it was shot on film.
Very dingy.
Yeah, it looks very dingy.
I like when he's like driving in the car near the beginning.
Yeah, Aronofsky's got a style. Yeah, definitely.
The soundtrack.
It's much more.
Lots of
it really isn't out there. It's not like Requiem Before a Dream or one of those kind of movies that he's made. It's not even as trippy as Black Swan. Like, that's a good comparison.
It's not even trippy.
It's very similar, I think. It's not trippy at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a character drama.
And then also Whiplash, kind of. We talked about that before.
Yeah, right? I was reminded a bit of that sort of
that obsession, kind of.
I've not been able to...
Yeah, I thought of Whiplash for sure.
The wrestling scenes themselves were, like, pretty brutal, too. I don't know if they just got some really guy who would be willing to take staples to his head and chest, or if that was an effect. It seemed like it was real. I don't know.
Yeah, all the stunts were really convincing.
Yeah.
All the punches felt real.
Yeah. Very visceral. Fucking violent. Yeah. There's tons of blood. And then they self-mutilate, self-harm in it. Like, it's really fucked up. It's disgusting to watch. And of course the parallels going into the end of the movie when it's like the ultimate sacrifice of self-harm. It's like it's their constant buildup of that. It gets progressively worse and worse. Like, it starts out with cuts, and then, he's going to the doctor's office. Is like, yeah, you have a serious heart condition. If you do this again, you're going to die.
Tough choice, especially when you're trapped in that.
It's extra heartbreaking with how the middle section of the movie, he actually starts managing to make connections. He manages to get through to his daughter, and he starts unfucking what he'd fucked. But then it does quickly spiral, and just... Yeah, the way it unravels and how quickly it does is...
Yeah.
Yeah, the way it jumps around emotionally is really effective.
Yeah. Exactly. When we learn that he missed the date with his daughter, like, we're learning that with him as the character instead of...
Yeah, you feel the same thing.
I don't believe it shows, like, her at the restaurant being, like, waiting. We just kind of experience it.
Yeah.
We go, oh, yeah, as soon as he does, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you
and every time her partner answers the door and just the look on her face... And he goes inside, and that whole conflict, I really enjoyed that part of the movie in particular, with her painful line where she's like, there's no fixing this is permanently broken, and I'm okay with that, it's better that way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, that's... Yeah.
Well, it really sucks.
The conclusion, the full stop.
Yeah, like, you can be a person that wants to give people second chances, or fucking 200th chances, but at a certain point, you're just going to have to realize, like, okay, well... I was doing fine without this person in my life, and now I'm feeling like shit the moment I let them back in. So you gotta cut him loose. Like, I don't even think she's wrong for cutting him loose at all. Like, it sucks for him. Sorry. Like, you say you're trying, but you're not really.
Yeah, there was clearly a long relationship there of like abuse and neglect that we don't even see. Yeah, that was clearly like, it was way even past the breaking point. I won't even say it's a breaking point.
Yeah.
I imagine the breaking point had passed like fucking years ago.
Yeah, she's deeply hurt by the whole thing.
Yeah, she's deeply hurt. This is probably like the 100th time he's done this, and just, he goes off to drink. That destructive behavior. And like that act of the movie, like once that happens, that's when he really just kind of spirals downward, and that's what leads to the end of the movie. That self-sacrifice, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's a weird place to end it for me. Like, I can see how it works for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, because he probably just dies.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't have to see it that way. You could see it as just a cycle of abuse where he just kind of gets up and keeps going and doing the same shit to himself. You could totally see it as that too. It's like The Sopranos. What? Just so you don't like?
What don't you like about where it ends? Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because it feels like I inevitably have to compare it to other movies that kind of do that same sort of thing. Black Swan is one of them, But I feel like what's happening in a film like Black Swan is a bit more clear. And there are a lot of films where I love like a purposefully ambiguous ending. And it's not like I hate the ending here, but it's just like it doesn't the build-up doesn't strike me as powerfully as like a lot of other films that have done that same sort of thing. It kind of just like, I don't know, it doesn't end on as exciting or exhilarating of a note as it could. I don't know. It's difficult to even describe it. It's just a feeling, I guess.
Yeah, I'll agree. I don't really put this quite on the same level as Black Swan.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's the perfect ending for that character, personally. I think it's the only way it could really wrap up in a way that I get the satisfaction from. But yeah, and it's no Requiem for a Dream either, but it's just that character drama. It's just so convincing to me. It feels so genuine, and just the way it builds, just like real drama and the real way people clash do. It's very thoughtful in that way.
Yeah.
It feels like you're just watching real people.
Well, yeah. That is Aronofsky's gift in this movie anyway.
Yeah.
Very versatile director.
Yeah.
It's a very grounded movie. I love the look of it. Yeah. A lot of smart choices. The last shot of the movie's great. That's part of why I love how it ends. It ends on a great image.
Yeah.
It just sums up the film perfectly.
I want to watch Noah again. Not because I think I'll like it, but because I have to remember that he directed it.
It stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy. He made that
Noah.
shit. Yeah.
Giant rock monsters, CG rock monsters.
I mean, he wrote it.
Very, very odd stuff.
Like, I don't know. It seemed like his project. It's so weird because I'm pretty sure he said he was an atheist too. Like, I don't know what he's doing.
Wait, really? Because that's the whole thing with Mother as well. It's all very biblical.
Yeah, but you can still have an appreciation for like biblical storytelling without necessarily believing in.
This is biblical, but it's subtle.
Yeah, right? A lot of movies.
Described. It's very good in this movie. Unlike Mother. Well, actually, Mother isn't even awful, but I wouldn't say that's a subtle movie.
Yeah.
Noah is pretty stupid.
I'm looking at his filmography. Pi, I love. Requiem for a Dream, I love. When you
start like adapting the Bible.
Fountain, I do not love.
It's not like Mother's an adaptation of the Bible. Would he even say that?
It's a biblical story.
This is the this is the Bible. Yeah, it's maybe his interpretation of the Bible, maybe, but it's a fucking crazy shit though for the most part.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is more up his alley. This is the movies I like from him, and that's what like this new one with Brendan Fraser sounds like. So I'm excited for that.
Sad,
it's like a character
self-destructive
drama.
Characters. Yeah,
it could be a comedy, like element of comedy, sure. But definitely dark and like character piece. The drama like this where it feels very natural. Yeah, it's very rewatchable film too. It's not too dark. There's a lot of funny parts in it. I think it's a really funny movie. I think Mickey Rourke absolutely kills it. He's a very charismatic character. Well. Yeah, and maybe that's some way of like him hiding something. Like his emptiness.
He's a showman.
He's a very showman-like person. So he's always like, yeah, man.
He's the greatest showman.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you contrast his showmanship in the show to when he's getting patched up afterwards by the medic, and that blank expression on his face kind of says it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I'm comfortable giving our ratings. What about you?
Yeah. What a wow movie.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys give ratings first. Yeah, it's fucking great.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this movie. I've always liked this movie. It's, as I said, it's not at the top of Aronofsky's work for me, but I'm just really sold by all the character work and the drama in here. It's all sold really well for me. I like a lot of the dialogue even. It's just very convincing. So it's a 4-star for me.
I think I'll bump it up from a 7 to an 8. I think I'll do that. I think I'm comfortable with that.
That hurts.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
I bumped it up. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm kidding.
Yeah, good stuff.
I love the movie. I think it's great. I think it is one of Aronofsky's best. It's so different from like Requiem for a Dream. That's, it's hard to compare them.
Yeah, it does stand out in that way. It is cool for that.
Maybe it's hard for me to take Requiem for a Dream serious now because like Marlon Wayans and Jared Leto.
Marlon Wayans does a great job in that movie, and Jared Leto may be cringe.
Yeah, he is good. Right, everyone does. Yeah. Everyone does a good job in that movie.
It's Marlon Wayans' best performance.
Yeah, the best stuff in the movie is
other than
the mom, Ellen.
Chicks.
I don't know how to say her last name.
Ellen Burstyn?
Yeah, after White Chick. Yeah, Ellen Burstyn.
I love her in that movie. There's so much great shit.
Yeah, like she's the best part of the movie. Like all the stuff with her. Jennifer Connelly's good. Yeah.
Requiem for a Dream I could watch a million
Jared
times.
Leto.
It might be my favorite Aronofsky. Requiem. Black Swan's pretty up there.
Yeah, I think Black Swan just edges out.
This one's a little more accessible. There's no ass-to-ass scene in this one.
Well, you know me, Ralph. Yeah. I love inaccessible films, so
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Give me a challenge. Yeah, I want to eat the spicy food of movies.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, let's do some questions. Thanks for the recommendation, Ralph.
Yeah, sure. It's a good one.
Let's head over to the Sardonicast subreddit then, where you can go to the suggestion thread and leave questions for us to answer in the future. Feeling Ad 6715 has our first one. Good movies with bad titles, or vice versa. I'll throw one out there. Last episode's recommendation, T2 Trainspotting.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Don't love that name.
T2?
Well, yeah, yeah, it's just kind of different to be different, I think, that one.
Yeah. Or just to confuse people.
Sure.
Rec was an annoying one to get around. Now I'm comfortable with it, I guess, because like it's just an abbreviation of the name of the word record. So you shouldn't be saying rec, because then people think like car wreck. So if you don't see it like written out, then it's kind of weird. But whatever, fuck it, I guess. I'm like split on whether or not Her is a good or bad title.
Yeah, these one word titles I'm like mixed on sometimes. Especially if it's something like Her.
Yeah,
but it does suit the movie though, is the thing.
Sexy Beast seems pretty misleading. Good movie.
Yeah, some superhero movies have some bad ones. Into the Spider-Verse, not the best title.
Yeah, but we had to say good movies, though. I was about to I realized I was about to say one that isn't a good movie.
No. There's a movie called No.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, but No was not a great title.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah,
you should not have multiple of those.
Then there's War for the Planet of the Apes, right? Like the last one's different.
Yeah, and also the way that they structure the trilogy, like Dawn should be before Rise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dawn implies that it's the first thing, and then Rise implies it's like the culmination of events. But it's not.
Sure.
They got them backwards.
We mentioned Edge of Tomorrow. That's not a good title.
Well, they changed it.
Live, Die, Repeat.
Live, Die, Repeat was like they kept flipping back and forth when they were like, nobody bought this one. We got
neither of them are good titles. They're both bad. Yeah, they're both bad titles.
Well, have you seen what the next one might be called?
Live, Die, Repeat again.
The next one, Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat.
Oh fuck!
It's listed as at the moment.
Live, Die, Repeat squared.
They need to fire whoever titles these fucking movies.
Yeah. Fire them.
Is that it? They're just adding good titles.
I swear, like the way they got to the Tomorrow War was just like Chris Pratt posting like a poll on Instagram, like which title should we go for? It seems just such like an afterthought with some of this.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It's just because all the best titles are taken. Like Batman is taken, Superman's taken. You can't do anything with that.
You got to be creative. Synecdoche, New York is the perfect title.
Well, yeah, because it's a city in New York. Well, it's a play on words.
Represents everything within everything.
It's like a kind of borough. I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah, that's kind of like an area of New York.
'Tis a Synecdoche.
Yeah.
Good movies with bad titles. Are there any more? I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, those are the main ones I could think of.
Any title that's French. Cachet, Amour. Sorry, learn English, Hanky Chan. No more French titles.
I think those are good, what we said.
I know, I'm just...
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow, I think, is the biggest example. Like, that's the worst thing about the movie is the title. It fucked over the movie. Like, the movie, I think, flopped.
Do you think Edge of Tomorrow is better than Live, Die, Repeat or no? Because I think it's better than Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, I think both kind of suck.
I think it's better to keep your original title, no matter what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, just changing it so late just seems like you have no confidence.
Like the movie came out and it bombed, and then they changed it. It's like, what? Like, what is it? A different fucking movie?
Beautiful, immaculate constipation of Harley Quinn or something.
That was shit. Yeah.
Oh, that's an awful.
But that's a bad movie, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you call it. Doesn't matter.
Sarcastodon left one for us. Since Space Jam New Legacy got an A- on CinemaScore, what do you guys think of this review system? Also, what does it say about Americans that something so fucking cancerous as this movie and other pieces of shit, like all the Transformers movies, get high scores from general audiences?
I think CinemaScore is the only rating system that I think is worse than Rotten Tomatoes. You know?
What is the point? What actually is the point of it?
Let's see. CinemaScore is the industry leader in measuring movie appeal. We provide unbiased measurement of audience response that helps gauge movie appeal and success by polling movie audiences on opening night for their reaction to the latest major movie releases.
Oh, yeah.
So they poll audience members, but I would like to see the numbers. I would like to see which cities, right? I would like to see demographics. I would like to see... You know, like, there would be a difference in audience depending on what time of the day they saw the movie, right? Yeah. Or if it's opening night, or like, you know, like, so I don't know if it is unbiased. I would like to see how they collect all their data.
So many variables.
It's BS.
Because the CinemaScore is just notorious for
Can I read off some of the ratings here?
Sure, please.
Because I have them all up. So new releases: Old is a C+. Snake Eyes, B-. Snake Eyes is a B-. Black Widow, A-. Boss Baby, Family Business, A.
Really?
Cruella, A.
Cool. Did they ask
Fast
the baby?
and Furious 9, B+. Escape Room, Tournament of Champions, B.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of fucking shit.
Yeah, well, it even gets below a C.
Peter Rabbit 2, A-. Space Jam: A New Legacy, yeah, A-.
Yeah, I think it was...
everything's great.
Mother got an F.
Wrath of Man, A-.
So, like, any movie that's, like, the least bit challenging, so the Darren Aronofsky Mother, yeah. Any movie that's the least bit challenging gets terrible CinemaScore, basically. Where it's like, if there's something that doesn't fit into, like, a very easily definable box of, like, a genre... You know, then it's just not going to do well on CinemaScore. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe it's a very, very incredibly unbiased and accurate representation of American movie-going audiences. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
But is there anyone out there that's like waiting for the CinemaScore as their
You know what's
litmus test?
You know what's even less biased than a CinemaScore? Just looking at the average rating on IMDb. Fuck. Mm-hmm. Like. Sure, that you can say that some movies will be favored over than others, and like superhero movies get like incredible ratings when they should, but that's like also just the general public. Like when I look at an IMDb rating, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like of course, you know, people would like this slightly less or slightly more or something. I look at that, I'm like, yeah, this is how I feel the average person would say about this movie. When I look at a CinemaScore, I'm like, who the fuck did you just only ask, like, my aunt? Or, like, what? who did you ask?
Yeah,
who are the people that you pulled?
Seen that year. Yeah, maybe Space Jam New Legacy would be good if it's the one thing you'd seen that year. It's like the first time you've seen a movie in, like, 5 years. then maybe it would be an A-.
Yeah, who knows?
Justice League 2017 got a B+.
Hell yeah.
So Justice League 2017 better than Tenet. Better than Tenet.
Oh, really? What did Tenet get?
Yeah, it got a B, I think.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And Snake Eyes got a B-.
So why do they call themselves the industry leader? Like, who's looking at this shit other than, like,
I don't know.
Clickbait articles that say when something got a really low one, they're like, "Where? This one got an F." Like, who's actually looking at it?
It seems like it's more for, like, businesses to measure
guess
things,
so.
and not for, like, the public at all. But the public care about it, though, I guess.
Shit.
Yeah, like Ballistic X versus Sever as a B-. That doesn't make any sense.
Forever
that's one of the
Purge,
worst
B-.
movies ever made.
Spirit Untamed, A. Okay. Spiral, B-. Oh my god.
Yeah, so just everything's pretty good, basically.
Yeah, everything's pretty good.
Unless it does something a little bit different, then it's the worst movie ever made.
Yeah. Oh, this is just
I'm gonna look up like low CinemaScore.
Holy shit. Literally just every single thing on this front page is at least a B-, except for Old, which was a C+. Old is the lowest rated out of all of these things, and every single thing on here is B- and up on this first page. Every new release right now. Apparently this is the month to see a movie. Apparently we got some great shit in theaters right now. Saw Spiral, Space Jam,
Peter
Legacy.
Rabbit 2.
Yeah. Quiet Place Part 2, everything. F9, Escape Room 2. Sorry, Escape Room Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, it is a bit like Rotten Tomatoes, though, isn't it? Where it is like
Killing Them Softly,
middling.
they gave an F.
Oh, of course they did. Of course they did. I love that movie. A lot of people fucking hated it.
It's a pretty good movie, yeah. I really like that movie.
Yeah.
Silent House is an F. The Box. Disaster movie. Yeah, that's an F, I guess.
Sure.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. The Wicker Man with Nick Cage. Okay, that makes sense. Solaris, the remake, really? Like the one with George Clooney?
I haven't seen that one, actually.
Is that right?
Yep. I Know Who Killed Me got an F. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, just some of these just don't belong.
Very
there. Like,
weird.
really? How could he be so mad at Killing Them Softly? I get that it doesn't follow like the structure and plot that you would assume out of it. You'd be like, oh, that just happened? Weird. I thought they were going to go another way. I fucking love the movie. I thought it was really great. A lot of people hate it.
Well, if you're going to give like Ballistic X versus Sever B, then like, come on, you can't give that shit like
not really Wolf Creek
F or even Mother. Like, at least give Mother a D or a C.
But also, like, if you're polling people right after they literally finished the movie, I mean, like you need a bit of time to think about this stuff to stew on it.
Especially
if
a complicated movie.
Yeah,
espally a movie that
your gut,
wants you to think
that was different, which means I don't like it. Yeah,
that was the worst movie I've ever seen.
That made me feel weird. D.
I'm giving this my lowest rating ever, B+.
Yeah.
All right. What was the question about?
It was about like CinemaScore and what we think of it.
I'm giving CinemaScore an F. Is what I think of it.
I'm giving it a Z.
I'm gonna give it a B-.
Right. You're giving it a Z, and Ralph's giving it a Z because that rhymes in the alphabet.
I actually don't like saying X, Y, Z.
Yeah, there's some things that I'm comfortable changing from like British English to American English. That's one of them.
That's good.
Yeah, there's some where it's like you don't have to write the letter U. You know, just get rid of it.
Color or armor.
Neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Americans just don't like the letter U, and they just got rid of it everywhere. List of A+ films on CinemaScore. Actually, I'm gonna see if there's any like really weird ones.
What's like the most loved movie?
So far, all the ones on here are like a bunch of classics. Actually, what the fuck? Star Wars. Okay, sorry. It said Star Wars 1997 re-release, but I was like, oh, but it's the original Star Wars. I thought it was like Attack of the Clones or something.
Yeah. They don't have Godfather on there. That's weird.
Passion of the Christ is is an A+ on CinemaScore.
Goodfellas?
Interesting. Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, interesting. The Blind Side, of course it was. Of course The Blind Side was A+ on CinemaScore.
That's an A+, and they gave Goodfellas an A-.
Of course it... Because, like, what's weird about it is, like, every single one of these just lines up with what I'd imagine, like, a middle-aged white woman in the States would do, right? Not like everybody... like, it's like they just ask one type of person. This is like the Karen score. Of course you would love The Blind Side. They hand these cards out,
like, when you're leaving the theater. So it's whoever would fill out these fucking cards.
Yeah, doesn't that make it like not an accurate rating system? Because most normal people are going to be like, why would I waste my time with this? So you're only getting the type of person who would take the time to fill out this card and feel like their opinion matters over other people's, like,
who already have a strong made
because people, you could just go online and make your own movie review and monetize it instead of just filling out a fucking card and giving it to someone.
Yeah,
like, why would you waste your time?
Green Book got an A+. Green Book and the really? Blind Side, all these white savior movies. Also Black Panther, very interesting, which giving it an A+ also makes you a white savior. Okay, cool. Incredibles 2, interesting. All right, next question.
Simple Ambassador has one for us. What do you guys think of the fact that no Disney movies have cracked the top 10 highest grossing films worldwide of last year, and that most of the highest grossing films of last year, including the highest grossing film of last year, Demon Slayer, were Asian movies? Do you think this could ever happen again in some way or another?
It happened because Disney abstained. They delayed everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it happened.
Yeah. I think it is just a bizarre
they just stopped
time.
Releasing, because of COVID.
Yeah, why would they want to make not as much money? What the fuck? Like, it's Disney.
Well, it just didn't make any sense to release movies in theaters.
Yeah, except for some Pixar ones on Disney Plus, I guess.
Yeah, like you said, they're not going to not make money. Like, they want to make $1 billion off everything, so
yeah, they didn't care about Mulan.
It. And then China they didn't give a shit, and they fucking they released movies anyway, and they made tons of money. Good for them. That's why.
I don't know how this Black Widow movie's doing in terms of if it's making money.
Well, yeah, if you do half Disney Plus, like, I don't know, where are we going to get the numbers from? Like, Disney would have to release that information.
Yeah, right. How do you even know anymore?
Disney would release it, but everyone just watched Disney Plus during that time. So they were doing great during that point. You know, they made all their money from Disney Plus, that's awesome for them.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool that an anime was the top grossing movie of the year so far, right? That's this year.
It's fucking weird, No,
I don't think it's weird. Anime has an audience.
Well, yeah, it has an audience, I mean.
Yeah.
But,
Demon Slayer. Never seen it.
It's grown, definitely.
I'll check it out, though, because now I have to, because it broke a record or something. But I don't know. It would be cool if this was a signal to Western animation saying maybe 2D is still profitable, then that's a good thing. I don't know if that will be interpreted that way, but clearly 2D animation is still profitable. Case in point, Japan. So, Western animation companies, maybe Disney, you want to, or somebody, like, I don't know, anybody, you want to make some 2D animations, please? Maybe once, ever
just give
again?
it a couple years for some more Marvel movies to come out. We'll be back on track. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
GGG375 left one saying, what's your opinion on the news that A24 is attempting to sell their company?
That's a rumor, isn't it? What are the facts here? Let's see.
To Apple, right?
Oh yeah, to Apple. That's a weird one.
Yep.
Yeah,
Who knows what the facts are?
It's okay. So far, the phrasing of these articles say Apple may be interested in acquiring A24, or Apple expressed interest in acquiring film studio A24. So I don't know if that means that A24 is like, yeah, we want to sell, but Variety on Tuesday reports A24 recently explored a sale that valued a company between $2.5 billion and $3 billion. A number of potential suitors were engaged in acquisition talks over the past 18 months, though the studio is yet to ink a deal as it is prioritizing expansion. So they're considering maybe selling, and Apple said maybe we want to buy them. So far, I don't know if that means anything. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. Remember when it was rumored that Facebook wanted to buy Oculus and then it happened? That was weird. I mean, A24 has like a fan base, you know? It has like, that's another thing with a personality.
Would you not fear that if Apple specifically bought it, the way it kind of... I don't think they're winning that battle necessarily in terms of... What do you think this would be a move to try and get their stuff for their streaming service? Or?
That would be why they would do it.
Because like, what was the last thing you watched on Apple TV Plus or whatever?
Wolfwalkers.
Yeah, Wolfwalkers it was for me, and that film it probably went under the radar because it was on that and not on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Exactly. I watched 2 episodes of that M. Night show and then forgot it existed, and then haven't had the energy to go back to it.
Yeah, I can't see it sticking around. Like there's just too much competition.
Yeah,
they don't have the IP.
It's like a cheaper one though, at least, right? That's my understanding.
Well, yeah, and they're doing all these deals. Like if you have like a PS5, if you like link it to your iTunes account, you get like 6 months of Apple TV. They're just using their size just to try and strong arm their way in without.
They'll
any
increase
content.
the price when there's enough subscribers. When you're hooked, though.
Yeah.
Charge as much as the other one.
Why would you ever subscribe to it?
They might get there at some point, but they're kind of far away.
Well, whatever A24 does, I mean, I will find a way to watch the films, and
I want to see Green Knight.
Yeah, that's coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's like their blockbuster.
It'll be out before this episode is published.
Yeah.
It's such a weird production company studio thing. It's like the Disney of indie movies. They've got like personality.
Yeah, they've got quite a passionate fan base.
Yeah, there's a subreddit for it.
Out some of the movies are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The best of the best movies.
It's just the Lighthouse memes.
Yeah, pretty much. Dunkerchino has a one for us. What's the best Adam Sandler movie, not including Punch Drunk Love, The Meyerowitz Stories, and Uncut Gems?
Go fuck yourself. How about that?
No, you got to answer.
Have I even seen The Wedding Singer? Like, that would probably be one if I remembered if I had seen it or not.
Jill.
Yeah, not Jack and Jill. I'd probably say like Hotel Transylvania, something like that.
Oh, that's a thing. I forgot.
Yeah, that's okay. Those are okay.
That's all right. It's bearable. He's not doing that voice that he did in that Christmas animated movie.
Oh, yeah.
8 Crazy Nights. Yeah, that's fucking torture, that shit.
It's not Christmas, though. It's Hanukkah, okay? Stop being racist.
Or like bedtime stories. Or bedtime stories is bad. Or Click. Like, those are really bad.
Yeah, they're just none of his comedies that any of us like. I've never really been an Adam Sandler person, so
no.
I will at some point watch Little Nicky again just for nostalgia because I watched that and liked it when I was much younger. But I don't think I will like it when I see it as an adult.
Yeah. I grew up around the time Adam Sandler was making family movies, so I saw some of them, like bedtime stories. They're terrible. They're not like That's My Boy, where they're just offensive. They're just usually just really bad. But Wedding Singer, that would be my answer.
I don't even know if I've seen.
It's like okay.
Billy Madison,
because that's early. That's like early era.
I'll have to check out Billy Madison.
That's not even good.
And Happy Gilmore I saw when I was younger, but I don't remember it.
His Judd Apatow movie. What's it called? Isn't he in Funny People?
I forgot about that one. I just assumed they were.
That was bad.
I assumed this question was asking about the Happy Madison movies, like the ones he made with Rob Schneider, like Grown Ups. But I guess that one's one of them, right? That's like one of the better films he's been in. Yeah, Funny People.
I could rewatch 50 First Dates for nostalgia also. I don't know if I would enjoy it.
Yeah, 50 First Dates.
Yeah.
Maybe Don't Mess with the Zohan. Is that him? Yeah.
Would not.
That was actually that was pretty bad. Yeah.
I spent about 10 seconds walking through a room where other people were watching it and was like, I'm not going to sit down with you. I just left. I have things I need to get done.
It's pretty fucking bad. Yeah, it's shit.
Yeah, it probably has a good CinemaScore. Let's check it out.
Adam Sandler? Oh, I bet his cinema scores are through the roof.
Yeah, they must be.
That movie was so funny.
Yeah, you never know. There's some that are like really not well received.
Jack and Jill. Like that should be an F. Jack and Jill is a B.
Oh, what? Awesome.
A B.
Okay.
It's the same score as Tenet.
That's pretty good. What was the one I was just saying? Oh yeah, Zohan. How do I even find something on this website?
I found That's My Boy. That's My Boy is a B-.
Oh, it's B-. You don't mess with the Zohan. Okay, Jack and Jill's probably low, right? Oh, it's a B.
Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights, B.
Fuck.
So he's got a lot of B's. That's pretty good.
50 First Dates, A-.
Mm-hmm.
Little Nicky, B-. Okay, yeah. Adam Sandler's doing pretty good on CinemaScore.
Yeah, they love him there.
Very good CinemaScore.
Very interesting.
See, Jack and Jill getting a B should be all the evidence you need that CinemaScore is bullshit. Like, ignore your personal feelings about the film. It is universally recognized as a bad movie. If you say Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill, the average person will be like, that's a piece of shit. You know? What is the IMDb
Both
for Jack and Jill?
Have B's.
Let's see.
Grown-ups 1 and 2, B.
Jack and Jill has a 3.3 out of 10 on IMDb. I think that's more accurate for how a person feels about that movie.
B and B- for Paul Blart. And Paul Blart 2. I don't know. I think that's a little off.
All right.
Yeah. Is that enough? I think we get the message.
Next.
What about this one from Whiskey Food? For Ralph and Alex, with Adam now getting tendinitis from editing, have you ever gotten any injuries from working too much? Have you ever gone that far, Ralph, with the
No.
repetitive strain injury? I've come close a couple of times. I've been noticing lately actually a kind of stiffness sort of in my clicking finger, but yeah, it's never gone far enough as it has with Adam. It's actually kind of scared me. But you describing your experience with it, it seems like a real nightmare, all that.
Let it be a warning. I got a trackball mouse now. It seems to be helping.
Do you rate that? Because I use this weird like vertical mouse.
I got the vertical one you told me about, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't very comfortable. It's sitting in front of me right now. It was kind of awkward to use.
So yeah, it's like a shark fin. It's quite weird.
The MX vertical.
But when I did swap to that though, it did stop my finger hurting.
That's good. Yeah, the Logitech trackball mouse is working out really well. You can make it kind of vertical too. You can adjust it so that it's horizontal or vertical.
What, do you just use the palm of your hand instead, or?
No, instead of a trackball, it's a trackball mouse. So essentially, you have the same functionality as a mouse, where you have like the buttons are the same. However, instead of moving around your wrist on top of a pad or your desk or whatever, there's just a ball where the thumb is, and that's how you navigate where the mouse is. And you can set it to whatever sensitivity you want.
Oh.
There's like a precision button if you want it to be like super precise, and then you can just press the precision button again so that it's, moves fast. It's been helping for sure. I've been improving, and I'm just trying to keep my work and general lifestyle in a way where I can continue noticing improvements, and then we'll see. I guess maybe at the end of the year, then I'll start my Sekiro playthrough again and start doing that during the week.
Yeah,
because I'm trying to do games that aren't as button mashy. Mass Effect is just conversations. So, yeah.
Slim Knave left one for us. What are some of your parents' favorite films?
My dad really likes the Man with No Name trilogy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's quite a dad sort of trilogy to love.
Very dad movies.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to think about a specific one that my mom likes, so I'll come back to it. You guys say some stuff.
My dad likes Gladiator. That's probably his favorite, with Russell Crowe.
Yeah, my dad likes Lord of the Rings. Or my mum weirdly likes Joker a lot.
She's a jokester.
Yeah.
Your mom likes Joker and the rest of your family likes trains. That's cool.
I like trains.
I like twains.
Fuck Christ. Did your parents' film taste affect your guys' trajectory much at all? Because a lot of the sort of classic 80s, 90s films like Trainspotting and your Fight Clubs and all the obvious shit, and, Alien and whatnot, sort of came through my parents when I was fairly young. Or did you have to kind of find it more on your own?
No, I found a lot of stuff on my own. I found most stuff on my own.
Yeah.
My dad showed me, like, stuff your dad would show you. Terminator, war movies he'd show me. Those are cool. Like, stuff like that. Halloween, I guess that was one. He was never a fan of Alien. He's not like science fiction, fantasy. Like, he doesn't like anything like that. You know, like Lord of the Rings. He likes Lord of the Rings, the war stuff. Like, he likes the second one, but not the third one, because that's when it gets really fantasy heavy. Like, you know, that's anything realistic or more realistic. Yeah. Alien has, you know, an alien in it. Or
even though I don't have like a specific one in my head right now, I can tell whether or not my mom will enjoy a movie for the most part. She likes good things that I would call good. Maybe she likes some things that I would call bad, but for the most part, as long as it's not like overly violent or gratuitous, like she just doesn't like that kind of stuff. She doesn't like it being overly sexual or violent.
I think my mom has good taste. Like, we watched Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Like, that's a violent movie, but it's good. Like, it's a good movie. She liked that, you know?
Yeah.
She wouldn't watch, I don't know, Total Recall. Like, something like that. But yeah, like, any drama. Any good drama, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my mom really liked The Secret in Their Eyes. I showed that to her. She really liked that one.
Yeah, like that.
In terms of my parents influencing my film taste, I would say that most of what I was really wanting to see, I kind of had to watch on my own. I had to seek them out. I had to find them. However, I guess in terms of influencing the way I think about films, they've probably had some impact. I have a lot of memories of my dad just being like, that's stupid. Like, we would be watching a movie and he would just start complaining about something, like in a different way than me, but like, just like, that's not what would happen. That's dumb. Yeah. I remember, I don't know if I've told this on the podcast before, but there was a movie called Jack Frost, I think, with Michael Keaton. And the plot of that film is that the dad character dies and is resurrected as a snowman, basically. And it's like a family movie, I guess. It's not a horror movie. But it's like, oh, my dad's a snowman. And I remember my dad like took me and my brother aside. He was like, I need you to understand this right now. If your dad dies, he's dead forever. He's not coming back as a snowman. He was like really offended that the movie would teach children like, oh, if my dad dies, I'll be a snowman, Dad. Like he was like offended at the idea that it would teach kids that, and he just made sure like, your dad's not coming back if he dies. It was really funny. But yeah, that's burned into my memory. I wonder why. What about you, Alex?
Oh, did I not answer?
I have a bad brain. I don't know.
Yeah, although for some reason it's not to do with my parents' favorite films necessarily, but just clashing with my family in terms of films and whatnot. Whatever year The Favorite came out.
Oh yeah.
What was that, like 2019 or something?
Yeah, something
around that. Christmas time, I remember coming together with my family and talking to my nan about it, and she was like really anti that movie for some reason, because she was watching it purely 100% from a historical perspective.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't even engage with this conversation because we're just watching these movies from just such different angles. Like I can't even break this down at this point. But yeah, it's interesting the way people in your family interpret movies differently and whatnot.
I think that about does it for questions. I just realized I need to start my stream pretty soon. So, okay. All right, thanks for the questions, everybody.
Nice.
There is a recommendation from myself. I switched recommendations with Ralph. One. So we'll have to remember after Alex's next one, it goes back to me and then Ralph just to correct the... So we'll just have to remember that.
The timeline,
so we have more time to watch it.
Yeah. So we recorded this episode a little bit early just because of a scheduling thing, and I wanted to make sure that there was enough time to watch this. Is for a film that is also there's a 5-episode miniseries, and so you can watch the film. I'm going to watch the miniseries version. The film is just cut down from the miniseries. It's Fanny and Alexander from Ingmar Bergman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, and I have the mini-series version in the Criterion. You can watch whatever you want. You can watch the film or the mini-series. It doesn't matter. It's a 2-hour difference. So the film's 3 hours and 8 minutes, and the mini-series is like 5 hours or something. I'm not sure, but I'm going to watch the mini-series.
Is there a recommended version? Or?
I mean, the mini-series is, I think, the intended version, and it got cut down into a film. So I think the mini-series was like the intended version. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you think that there's a better version. I don't know. It seems to be that the miniseries is better? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm excited to see it because I've seen some older Bergmans, but I haven't seen his newer Bergmans. Yeah. And I guess this is awesome. Newer, considered in the 80s or whatever. Anyway, if you don't want to be spoiled for Fanny and Alexander, or if you want to correct me and say that the movie was the original intent in the miniseries, maybe I'll change my mind about what I'm watching. But anyway, I do want to watch the miniseries. If you don't want to be spoiled for it, watch it before next episode. These episodes come out every 2 weeks, and you can listen to them early by going to Sardonicast.com, signing up for premium. It's $2 a month. That's 50 cents a week. That's like nothing. Whoa. Or go to patreon.com/Sardonicast. It's the same. It's a Patreon. You know how it is. We got merch also. Anyway, yeah, looking forward to talking about Fanny and Alexander.
Fanny and Alexander.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neither of you have seen it?
Weeks.
No.
What Bergmans have you seen?
I don't know.
Bergman.
I could pull up the Letterboxd quick.
The Seventh Seal is a big one.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I've seen the Seventh Seal a long time ago.
Persona.
Yeah. I've seen Persona.
Okay. So
Persona's good.
We have a bit of familiarity with it. All right.
Yeah. I've got it definitely familiar. Let me just check. I might have No, I think that's exactly it.
Okay, we've seen the same
ones.
One
I want to see. Yeah.
Which one's the one you want to see?
Oh, and the Magician. I've seen The Magician, which is actually very good. Max von Sydow's in it. He's the magician. I would like to recommend that one day.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, anyway, I guess that's it for now. Okay.
All right, thanks for listening,
Cool.
everybody. Have a happy
Thanks,
Trek. And better Fanny your Alexander.
Christmas.
Everybody. From the tomorrow,
Fanny.
the war that tomorrow will happen in. Bye.
Fanny.